Hey guys, it's Tim from Bent Revolution, and today we're going to install a Mirrycle Mirror onto this Gekko. To do that, you're going to need a few things. A 3mm wrench. They include one, but it's garbage, so you should probably use a better one. And one of my favorite tools, the hammer. This handlebar is hollow, so what we're going to do is we're going to knock this cap out with a hammer, and that's where the mirror is going to go. You'll see a lot of people who do it yourself kind of show that they do it themselves by using a shop knife or a razor blade and end up getting it all cut sloppy. But believe it or not, using a hammer on this is going to be the cleanest way to get that plug out. You just line it up and you'll tap on the bar, and what happens then is you get a perfect hole. So awesome, you've done job one. This is probably the most common mirror that we have. We see it used on a lot of different things. So let's unpack it. We're going to open it up, take it out. There's some instructions. A bag of bolts and a wrench that we'll get rid of. There's a couple of these wedges that'll come in handy later. And then the parts of the actual mirror and the arms of the mirror. First thing I like to do is open up the bag of parts and just dump them into the paper. There's a lot of little washers here, so you want to make sure that you don't lose any of those. We're going to set that off to the side. First thing you're going to need is this mirror. There's a little inset here, so you can see this side has a different piece, little different setup there. So that's where the screw goes. So you're going to need one of these small bolts and one of these really small washers, and it just jumped out of my hand magically. So put that on there, and here's a trick. These are going to work a lot better if you grease up the threads a little bit. So we've got a little bit of shop white lithium grease that we use there. We'll put that in there, and then we're going to run it through the correct side of the mirror where the inset is. It's going to be just like this. Next, we're going to take a large washer, put it there, and next we're going to get this arm. Looks like this. Tiny little elbow there. You see it? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start it this way, and we're going to get it just so it holds right now, and then we'll come back to it. You may want to just give it actually a little bit more of a tightening. I like to kind of pre-tighten stuff a little bit so it's not quite as sloppy, but this is not a difficult process, and you can leave it, I would leave it loose so it's still like that. That makes it easier. Next we're going to set that down for a minute. We're going to go to the other bolt that looks like this, and this one gets 3 of the tiny washers. So I'm putting on 3 tiny washers here. And once I have the 3 tiny washers on, I'm going to give it just a little bit more of that lithium grease to make sure everything stays put. It's kind of an interesting concept, but the lithium actually helps to hold it in place, and so it doesn't rust the threads with sweat or whatever. It also doesn't, it holds tighter, believe it or not, with grease on it. So we always put grease on the threads. We're going to tighten this up about the same level as we did on the other one, just so it holds in place. Once we get it on the bike, I'll show you how we get everything adjusted. So now it's all kind of still loosey-goosey, right? Next is this long bolt. This long bolt feeds through this end of it. It doesn't really need grease. It's not going to come loose. That goes like this. Then there's a wedge. There's 2 wedges. In this case, it's the larger of the 2 wedges. So we're going to put it on this way. So the wedge part, wedges. Always good to have wedges that wedge. Then there's this little barrel, and that's going to go on this like this, and I'm going to screw it in just a little bit to make sure it doesn't come apart when we put it into the bike. Okay, so now I'm going to just give it a little cinch like that, and then it's time to put it on to the bike. Okay, so we've got our mirror all loose and connected, and our wrench, and that should be all we need to finish this up. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this through the hole that we made earlier. We're going to put this over to the side a little bit, and then just tighten up the 3mm. And you know, you kind of want to have a pretty good idea of where it's going to go, and you'll feel when it tightens up. You'll feel some extra tension. There it is. And now we're going to go to this 3mm and do the same thing. We're going to just tighten it up the rest of the way. Probably not as hard as you can, but you want to make it so it's kind of the judgment there is that you want it snug where it'll hold, but you want it still where it's able to move. So maybe just a smidge tighter than that, maybe half a turn tighter. And now it's where I think it should be. The top one, same thing. We're just going to tighten it up. And a couple of turns, and we should be just about there. Okay, now we can have it set however you want to, but it's going to stay in place and it stays out of the way of your hand. So this is really a nice addition to your bike. It's always good to have a mirror just to be able to see behind you before you make a move, to see if anybody's passing you. I hope you enjoy this video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's other things you want to see how to put them on your bike or how it's done, just let me know in the comments and I will try and help you out. Thanks.